Hello. This evening's Christmas story comes from Aaron Stevenson from Ratho, who's aged 9. He's called it The Boy with an Elf. One day, a boy who loved Christmas went shopping for Christmas lights. The boy's name was Jack. He was 9 years old and he was out shopping with his mum and dad. Jack was excited about getting some shiny new bright lights, but suddenly he spotted an elf on the shelf. Jack had never had an elf before and he stopped to shout to his mum, "Can I buy this elf on the shelf, please?" Maybe even two?" Jack's mum did not look surprised and said, "You can buy it if you use your own money." "Yes, mum, I will buy one," Jack said excitedly, and picked one from the shelf, first covering his hands with his sleeves. Jack had heard that if you touched an elf with your hands, they lose their magical powers, so he was very careful. When they got to the car, Jack was impatient to get home with the elf, and it felt to him that they were driving 2 miles an hour. Eventually they got home and Jack placed his elf on the shelf on his desk. "Dinner time," Mum shouted. "Okay, coming," Jack shouted back and opened his bedroom door and went downstairs to the dinner table. When Jack was eating dinner, he kept thinking about the elf on the shelf and what magical powers it may have. Suddenly, Jack felt a whoosh of wind coming through him, and it made his spine go all shivery. Nothing else happened that evening, however, and when Jack started drifting off to sleep later that night, he was still wondering what would happen now that he had his very own elf. Bing, bing, bing! Jack's alarm went off and he woke up. It was very cold outside and Jack was toasty under his bed covers, but he jumped out of bed quickly as he hoped they were putting the Christmas lights and decorations up today. Jack's mum came through and placed out his clothes. "Thanks," said Jack with an excited voice, so he hurriedly put his jeans and top on. As Jack was sitting having his breakfast, he thought again about the elf and the feeling of the shivery wind coming through him at the table yesterday. Jack soon forgot about the elf though, when his dad mentioned the Christmas lights. "Can we put the lights up now?" pleaded Jack. "Yes, we can." So Jack put on his warm outdoor jacket and his boots. Outside, Jack got a ladder to go onto the roof of the garage to put up a tree and some Santa decorations. Later that night, as Jack was in bed, he felt proud of the light display he had created outside with his dad. Jack found it difficult to sleep that night, as it was Christmas and it took a while before he was sound asleep. At midnight, Jack was suddenly woken by someone tapping him on the shoulder. Jack heard someone whisper, "It's okay to see me. I want to give you something." The voice sounded like Santa, so Jack opened one eye. It was Santa. Jack said, "Santa," in a quiet voice because his mum and dad were sleeping next door. Santa said, "Come with me, Jack. I'm going to take you somewhere." "Can you tell me where?" Jack asked. "Not yet," Santa replied. When they got to the roof, Jack was busy chatting to Santa when Santa said, "Get on, I'm going to give you a ride on my sled." Jack hopped on and Santa did the same. "Can you guess where we're going, Jack?" "Is it somewhere cold like the North Pole?" Santa chuckled and exclaimed that they were going to the North Pole. In fact, they were going to Santa's very own house, and Santa gave out a loud "Ho, ho, ho!" When they got far away, Jack saw a snowy cave with icicles all around it, and Santa was heading straight for the cave. "Do you want to go fast?" said Santa. "Yes," said Jack. "Okay, let's go." Ho, ho, ho! When they got to the cave, they went in sideways and then upside down. They went through the cave, and on the other side they were in Santa's very own home in the North Pole, and Jack was now standing in a very magical world. Jack was amazed. "Am I dreaming?" "No, Jack, this is real." Everywhere Jack walked, there were sweeties, ice lollies, cakes, and even a huge buffet with hot dogs and pizza. Jack also spied a workshop hidden in the corner. "Santa, can I go in?" spluttered Jack. "Why, sure, and when you go in, you can make your own toy," said Santa. Jack was so excited he could hardly even speak. Yes, I would love to," he finally managed to say. As Jack stepped into the workshop, he knew exactly which toy he wanted to make, as he had been dreaming of a jump bike since the summer. Jack built a red jump bike with the help of Santa and his elves. As Jack left the workshop with his gleaming bike, he went to get an ice lolly. As Jack sat there on his bike, Licking his ice lolly, all of the snowmen came and hugged him. It felt cold, but Jack liked it. Santa said sadly it was time to go home, so Jack hopped back on the sled and waved his hand and shouted, "Bye, bye, bye!" Jack was crying as he went flying home on the sleigh and did not see where he was going. Jack's tears were tears of joy and also sadness from saying goodbye to the magical world. There was a bit of a bumpy landing when they got home, and Santa turned and said to Jack, "You better go to bed and get some sleep." And Santa drifted off into the night sky. The next morning, Jack put his nose up against the window and looked outside to see any signs of Santa, but there were none. Jack was sad, but his gran came in and said not to worry, that Santa would be back. "Will he?" said Jack. "Yes," said his gran. "Next Christmas, he'll be back, and you will have to wait for your next magical adventure." Thank you for that lovely story, Aaron. Good night. I hope you enjoyed tonight's Advent story. Don't miss out on the chance of some more Christmas magic by booking my new online Santa at Home grotto now. The elves and I have been very busy getting the Wi-Fi sorted out in the North Pole so that we can all meet and chat together via Zoom and have a right good Christmas party together. Book now at santaathomeofficial.com. Merry Christmas, everyone.